Bette Davis, often referred to as the First Lady of the American screen, Bette Davis created a new kind of screen heroine. She was a liberated woman in an industry dominated by men. Wasn't just a star, she was a force of nature who shattered every rule Hollywood had for women. With eyes that could pierce through the screen and a defiant spirit that refused to be tamed, she transformed from an unwanted contract actress into one of the greatest icons in cinema history. Off-screen, her life was as tumultuous as her most dramatic roles, filled with fierce rivalries, tragic loves, and bitter betrayals. This is the story of a woman who didn't just play strong characters, she lived as one. Bette Davis was born Ruth Elizabeth Davis on April 5, 1908 in Lowell, Massachusetts. From a young age, Bette's life was anything but conventional. When her father, Harlow Morrell Davis, a patent attorney, left the family, she was only 10. Her mother, Ruth Augusta Favor, was left to raise Bette and her sister Barbara alone. Ruth's strength and resilience shaped Bette's formidable spirit, instilling in her an unyielding determination to succeed. Bette's childhood was marked by her mother's sacrifices. Ruth sent her daughters to boarding school, using what little she had to ensure they received an education. Initially, young Bette was captivated by the idea of becoming a dancer, enchanted by the glamour and allure of the stage. However, it didn't take long for a greater passion to seize her: acting. What fascinated her wasn't just the fame, but the challenge of transformation. She craved the complexity of becoming different characters, and with that, her journey to stardom began. Bette graduated from Cushing Academy, determined to pursue acting. Her first audition for Eva Le Gallienne's Manhattan Civic Repertory ended in rejection. It was a moment that could have discouraged any young actor, but not Bette. Instead, she enrolled in John Murray Anderson's dramatic school, where she quickly stood out for her intensity and skill. Her fierce determination set her apart from her peers, and soon enough, she was making her Broadway debut in Broken Dishes in 1929 at just 21. Hollywood took notice, but Bette's arrival in Los Angeles wasn't the star-making event she expected. Universal Studios signed her in 1930, but upon her arrival, the studio's representative failed to recognize her. To Hollywood, she didn't look like a star. Her first few films, including Bad Sister, 1931, were lackluster, and Universal soon dropped her. In 1932, Bette signed a 7-year contract with Warner Brothers. Her true breakthrough didn't come easily. It wasn't until her role in The Man Who Played God, 1932, that people began to take notice. Even then, Bette had to fight for better roles, often clashing with studio executives. Her perseverance paid off when she landed the role of Mildred Rogers in Of Human Bondage, 1934, a part that no other actress wanted because of the character's repulsive and manipulative nature. Bette transformed the role, bringing a rawness and emotional complexity that left audiences stunned. Critics raved about her performance, though she didn't win the Oscar, but that loss didn't matter. Bette Davis had arrived. In 1935, she won her first Academy Award for Dangerous, playing the troubled actress Joyce Heath. This solidified her reputation as a serious actress, but Warner Brothers still tried to place her in films she considered beneath her talent. Frustrated, Bette fled to England in 1936 to escape her contract, seeking more challenging roles. Warner Brothers sued her, and though she lost the case, she won something far more valuable: respect. Upon her return, the studio began to recognize her worth, offering her the substantial roles she craved. By the late 1930s, Bette Davis was Hollywood royalty. Her performance in Jezebel, 1938, earned her a second Oscar, portraying a Southern belle whose fiery nature mirrored Bette's own. In the 1940s, Bette delivered some of the most iconic performances of her career: The Letter, 1940, The Little Foxes, 1941, and now Voyager, 1942. These roles defined Bette as a star who could play complex, difficult women, characters who could be cruel, loving, vulnerable, and strong all at once. Her career in the 1940s reached extraordinary heights, and she became Warner Brothers' most valuable asset. Bette's relentless work ethic made her a formidable figure, both admired and feared. She wasn't just acting in films. She was shaping the characters, often clashing with directors, to get the performances she knew she was capable of delivering. Off-screen, Bette's personal life was as tumultuous as her career. Her first marriage, to Harmon Ham Nelson, ended in 1938 after 6 years of tension. Ham, a musician, felt overshadowed by Bette's immense success, and their relationship deteriorated under the weight of her growing fame. Her second marriage to Arthur Farnsworth in 1940 brought her a brief period of happiness. Arthur was a New England innkeeper, far removed from Hollywood's pressures. Tragically, he died in 1943, leaving Bette heartbroken. His sudden death was a loss from which she claimed she never fully recovered. Her third marriage to artist William Grant Sherry was fraught with conflict. They had a daughter, Barbara, B.D., but the marriage was strained by Sherry's jealousy of Bette's career. Their arguments were legendary, and by 1950 they divorced. That same year, she married actor Gary Morrell, with whom she adopted 2 children. Though their relationship began passionately, it soon became volatile, marred by frequent arguments and heavy drinking. They divorced in 1960. Perhaps the most painful relationship of her life was with her daughter, B.D. In 1985, B.D. published My Mother's Keeper, a scathing memoir that accused Bette of being an abusive and neglectful mother. The book shocked the public and devastated Bette, who felt deeply betrayed. She later disinherited B.D., and their relationship was never repaired. As Bette aged, roles for women in Hollywood dwindled, but she didn't disappear. In 1950, she staged one of the greatest comebacks in cinema history with Asterisk, All About Eve Asterisk, playing the aging Broadway star Margot Channing. Her iconic line, "Fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night," became immortal, and the role earned her a 9th Oscar nomination. In the 1960s, Bette embraced the grotesque with Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, 1962, a psychological horror film that pitted her against longtime rival Joan Crawford. Their feud was legendary, but the film became a cult classic and earned Bette yet another Oscar nomination. Though her health began to decline in the 1970s, she suffered a stroke and battled breast cancer, Bette continued to act. She won an Emmy for Strangers, the story of a mother and daughter in 1979, proving that even in her 70s, she was still one of the greatest actresses of her time. Bette Davis passed away on October 6, 1989, in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France. But her legacy endures. With over 100 films and a career that spanned 6 decades, Bette redefined what it meant to be a leading lady. She wasn't interested in being loved on screen. She wanted to be remembered. Her fierce independence, relentless ambition, and raw talent made her one of Hollywood's greatest stars. Bette Davis didn't conform to Hollywood's expectations. She shattered them. She fought for roles that challenged her, refused to be typecast, and demanded respect in an industry that often overlooked women. To this day, she remains an icon of defiance, an actress who proved that true talent, combined with sheer willpower, can make anything possible. That's a wrap. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates. See you in next video.